It's Friday.
It's Froggy Friday.
What are we going to make then?
Larimar.
Okay. Not going to lie, not the answer I was expecting.
No.
Well, it was, because obviously I've seen the video, but you get my point.
Yeah, no, I thought I would do a frog sitting on a Larimar.
Indeed. So, talk us through your Larimar, which... Larimar.
Yeah, I mean, it's not...
It's a dirty word.
It's our... Well, yours, white whale.
It is my nemesis.
Yeah.
My nemesis. Right, full disclosure, I have done
Millions.
20 Larimars, and of those 20, one was successful.
Yeah.
And I have to say, that successful one, I was like, oh, I have cracked it.
Yeah.
I am there. I've arrived. And then, I kid you not, I did exactly the same. Now, me being me, I count my drops. I measure, it was identical.
Yeah.
In every way possible. Even the colours were identical, and it failed dismally.
I'm wondering whether it's something to do with the temperature of the resin. I don't know.
I don't know, but at that, I've given
you
up.
don't know?
I've literally, I quit. I've rage quit them so many times. And then what will happen is a couple of days go by and I go, oh, I'll just have one more go.
Yeah. And
it comes out of failure. And there is, I have to say, there is a little bit of
the air is a little
language.
Blue. Yes.
Adverse language, I feel, is a better way to put it.
Yeah. So I've just done a light blue, a green, and then a clear in the middle. And then I just let it do its thing. Now, it didn't turn out exactly how I envisaged.
Do you think that's because you forgot the white?
No, I purposely didn't put the white in.
Oh, okay.
That it wasn't.
But it's the white that gives it the Larimar effect.
Well, there's sort of a Larimar in there.
No.
If you squint.
If you squint and turn your head at a funny angle.
And if you turn the lights down a bit, you can see a Larimar.
And even if you turn the screen off, you can see a Larimar. But other than that, definitely no.
But although it's not a complete fail, because I really like that.
No, it is really pretty.
I think the on the edges, the crystal, it just looks really cool.
But that's the mould.
Yeah.
That's not your ability.
Well, that's a bit harsh.
I think it's true. Anyway. What happened then?
I delegated the frog making.
Yes, you did.
To you.
Yes, you did.
And I went, make me a frog. Just like that. And you went, yes, sire.
No, that is so not true. Let's just be clear.
No, you didn't use sire.
No, that's not true either. Right. He said, make me a frog. Like that. And he did do that. There was the clapping and everything. And I said, I don't think so. It's your week. And then he said, okay, what was it? Can you get me the Aquacast out? And I was like, what do you mean get you the Aquacast?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to make it out of Aquacast. I went, hold the phone. I'll do it. I was like, no way am I letting you touch the Aquacast.
Why not?
We don't have that kind of time. But no, Aquacast and you, no, definitely no. Ever.
Okay.
Ever. Anyway.
So what you're saying is that if I need anything Aquacast,
I will make it.
Okay. So noted. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So I mixed up 200 grams of powder.
Yeah.
And I did 76 mils of water. And that's 6 mils more than normal.
Yeah.
But I wanted it a little tiny bit runnier than normal.
Why?
Because I want it to go into all the little nooks and crannies of the mould.
Oh, okay. Because if you did it exactly, it would be quite thick.
It's not that it's quite thick. It is quite a viscous liquid anyway when it's mixed. But I wanted it just that little tiny bit more.
Yeah.
And then I added some white pigment to the water. Again, Aquacast is a really nice white naturally, but I wanted it a little bit whiter.
So why are you adding it to the water?
Because if you add your colourant to the water, when you add the water to the powder,
Yeah.
it mixes thoroughly. If you add the colourant to the powder after you've put the water in,
Yeah.
then you risk the colourant not mixing evenly throughout the entire
Okay.
mixture.
Because normally, if I was doing that in resin, I would mix the resin first and then add the colourant after.
Yes. But this is not resin, this is Aquacast.
Oh, yeah.
It's a different thing.
Oh.
And you can tell that it's a different thing because it's different.
Because you can tell it's a different thing because it's different.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up.
You're welcome. Anything I can do to help you during this process, you just let me know.
I will. I think.
So, I use my whisk to mix it all up.
That's not a whisk.
It is a whisk. Leave the whisk alone. It's never done anything to you. It's a lovely little whisk. I love it. It's purple and I like it. And then I took the stick and I just scraped around the sides and the bottoms. I don't know if you have to do it, but I do it as habit because you do it with resin.
Yeah.
And I suppose logic says that you could have a bit of powder on the corners and stuff. If you mix it in a bowl, it probably doesn't matter because it's a bowl. But because I mix in quite narrow cups,
isn't a cup technically a small bowl?
No, it's a cup.
Well,
You can tell that they're different because they're spelt different. Cup.
You can tell the difference between a cup and a bowl because they're different.
Yes, that is exactly right.
Wow.
You're welcome.
I'm getting the hang of this.
I know.
Yeah.
It's so much easier when you just think like me.
Oh dear, no. Hell
what
no.
What do you mean no?
No.
What's that supposed to mean? I have a perfectly logical and ordered mind.
Ordered?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
On how many occasions have I referenced your mind to be like Alice in Wonderland?
Oh, you're convinced that my mind is like Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah, it's just random.
I don't think it is that random.
No, it's very random.
I have random thoughts at times that I choose to share with you.
Yeah, like, while I'm trying to go to sleep.
What's wrong with that's the best time to ask you some questions.
No, it's not.
It is because you're a captive audience.
No.
Yes. Anyway, I demolded the frog. We are digressing completely off track.
Yes.
Back onto the video, right?
Okay.
So I mixed it up, poured the thingy, did lots of squidging and tapping, let it set for about 90 minutes, and then
I still got holes in it.
Demolded it, and yes, there were one or two.
Is that because you didn't smack it around enough?
Yeah, I probably could have done with whacking it a bit more, but I was going to paint it anyway.
And with my paints.
I was going to paint it with your paints. Now, I had so much fun using Kirk's paints on Monday that I thought,
let's do it again.
Let's do it again. So I got all of his greens because they were still in order. And I thought, we need to sort that right out. And I took them all down. And if I could have taken a picture of his face as I was doing it, I would have, because so funny.
No.
It was.
No, it's not.
I'm trying to think what I would compare your face to.
Angel? An angel?
No, that's not the first thing that came to mind.
No?
No.
Cherub?
Definitely no. No. It'll come to me.
Saintly?
Again, no.
No?
No. No, you did not. Sinister was the look that was on your face. Sinister.
Sinister?
You had a very sinister look on your face. And I thought...
I don't feel that was right. I think you're just exaggerating there.
I don't think so. Sinister is what it was.
Where did that frog come from?
Well, I'm glad you asked. And can I just say, very observant of you.
Of the two of us, I am the most observant.
It turned out that I had a little bit of Aquacast left over.
Mm-hmm.
So I chucked it into this mould.
Okay.
And I thought, well, they've already seen me fill one mould up and demold from one mould, and it's exactly the same. It's just a different shape. So
It's not exactly the same then, is it? It's different. You can tell they're different
I
because
just
look, they're
said
different.
that. It's exactly the same, just a different shape.
They are exactly the same, but just
a
different.
different shape. Yes, that is perfectly logical. So I didn't show the demolding of that one.
Okay.
I actually forgot to press record.
That's shocker.
But let's not tell Kirk. Anyway, I thought I'd just paint it.
Okay. So you've painted it a flash.
Yeah.
And then you've gone over it with a metallic.
Because let me explain. I did it in that one colour, and if I'm honest, it didn't sing to me.
It didn't.
There was no singing.
No?
No. So I thought, well, it's Kirk's paint. I'll just go over it with a different colour.
And the other one sang to you?
Well, it was humming in a very low tone, but there was definitely more than the first one. The first one felt wrong. It didn't, I just didn't like it. I was like, no, it's not doing it for me. So I'll just use a bit more of his paint.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
And then somebody said something to me there, so I had to just answer very quickly. And then I got back onto
with your silicon-covered keyboard.
With my brand new silicon-covered keyboard. All the keys work, which is wonderful.
Yeah, because the last one, you got resin or UV in it and that, and half the buttons didn't work.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to type something and one of the buttons had stuck, you've got a notepad with all with all of the letters in there, and you just copied the letter and pasted it. It used to take you about 5 minutes to write a sentence.
No, it did not. I'm a very, very quick copier and paster. So I am. Yeah, it did. Yeah, my last keyboard did get a little bit.
And so did the mouse.
Well, the mouse wasn't my fault. That was
whose fault was it then?
Well, that was the fault of some gloves.
For the observant of you may just have seen another frog has appeared. Are you sure these aren't rabbits?
So
what happened here? Come on. Let's sit down and listen to story time with Nikki.
If you remember with that last one, I poured out quite a lot of green, and I refer you back to the sinister face that you had when I said, I'm done, and there was that big blob of green. You were like, what? You can't waste all that paint. Rah, rah, rah. I was like,
that doesn't sound like something I would say.
No, it was. And I was like, but I don't know what to do with it. And then you flung yourself around like Kenny Everett from the 70s and went, what about all those? Because I'd made quite a few frogs.
Kenny Everett?
What's wrong with that? That was the first thing that came to mind.
Why did Kenny Everett come? Is there anything about me that reminds you of Kenny Everett?
Literally nothing.
No.
But that's what came to mind. So
if I had the space, I'd do that leg flip thing.
I don't know. Listen, you're digressing from the video. I'm trying to explain.
I'm digressing from the video.
You flung yourself around and
like
said,
Kenny Everett.
Pick one of
yeah.
Because there was a few frogs lined up for other purposes. And I was like, oh, okay then. So I painted that. And that's where the reading frog came from.
Right.
Now.
I'm still... the Kenny...
I literally don't know where that came from. Not a clue. Maybe I am.
You just proved my point about the Alice in Wonderland head.
I don't think I've got an Alice in Wonder. Anyway, so the failed Larimar.
It's not failed Larimar.
It is a failed Larimar.
No, that is a purposeful.
It is
lily
a
pad.
failed Larimar. I wanted to bottom coat it. We're not calling it that. That sounds wrong. Base coat it. I wanted to base coat it.
Bottom coat is better, I think. I think if you're going to do it.
I feel that has connotations that I don't like. Anyway, so I put some latex on and stuck a cup to it and then made it as close to being level as it's ever going to get, really.
That's nowhere near level.
Well, that's not, but I stick a lollipop under. You watch. Watch what happens with the magic lollipop.
That is a magic lollipop.
No, watch. See?
Ooh,
It's very exciting. There you go. Look at that. Bubble straight in the middle.
magic.
Happy days. Now, if only I had remembered in about 5 minutes that I'd done that. Because what happens, well, you'll see. So I've mixed in some interference green because I thought I want that sort of...
Is that white in there as well?
No, it's just interference green.
So that's clear resin with that interference green in it, and it comes up with that.
Yeah.
Oh right, okay. I thought you put some white in it or something.
No, but that interference green is a special green that is not for you.
I thought
no.
that we had agreed that everything in this room is fair game.
Don't remember that, but
I'll refer you to Monday's video.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No,
no.
Okay,
but no, because you'll take beautiful things and make abominations from it.
Yeah,
I want to keep some things nice.
Like what?
Everything.
Well, that's not some things. That's everything.
Everything that I like that colour right there. That's a nice colour.
How am I going to turn that into an abomination?
I don't know, but trust me, if it can be done, you will do it.
I feel that's a challenge.
No, I feel that's a fact.
No, I mean, that's a challenge for me to do something with that now.
Do you want me to get you some like seriously pretty things and then go on then, make that horrid?
Yes.
No,
do that.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I made a bow from purple resin. Now, this wasn't one that I made specifically for this project. It was one that I already had on the go, as it were.
Did it speak to you?
No, well, no, not really.
No?
It sang a song though.
Bom, bom, bom.
I thought the thoughtful looking frog could do with a bow tie because, I don't know.
Because he's looking quite dapper.
Do you know, I think he is. And if I'm honest, I'd possibly have made him a top hat, but I ran out of oomph.
Because a top hat would have looked quite cool.
It would,
actually.
But I was 3 frogs in at this point, so I was like, it's enough of that.
You're frogged out.
I was frogged. I tell you, I was frogged off.
Frogged off?
I was proper frogged off by the time I got to this point.
Okay.
Because I'm like, how has this worked out that it's your frog week?
Yep.
And yet I am once again making the frog.
I told you I delegated.
How does that work? Because when I delegate, nothing happens. You just go, yeah, okay. And nothing.
Yeah.
And then I do it myself.
I don't feel that you're grasping how this dynamic works.
Would you explain it to me using very small words? And if you've got picture cards, feel free to hold them up.
I will draw some stick figures.
Go on then.
And I will... But it's basically what happens is I say, make me this, and then I clap my hands, and then you do it. That's how it works.
I don't like that system.
No, but if you're completely honest, that is the system.
I refuse to confirm or deny any of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So so I drew the whites of their eyes using an acrylic paint pen.
Yeah.
Acrylic paint pen?
Paint.
Is that right? Yeah. An acrylic paint pen.
Yeah.
That just sounded wrong.
Why?
I'm like, I don't know, just did.
Acrylic
paint pen. And then I gave him his bow tie.
Yeah.
Because, he needs his bow tie. I actually quite liked that bow tie on him.
Yeah.
And then I painted the bit that goes around the neck.
With your homemade wet palette?
With my homemade wet palette.
That's a cool wet palette.
It is. So you brought... so I got this little tub from something else was in it. I can't remember what, but it was in my drawer. And I had some foam from something else. again, I don't remember what. And I thought, oh, I could make my own little paint
But it's
palette.
not like the really squishy foam. It's quite a
It's the firm stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite a rigid.
And when I said to Kirk, oh, I'm making a wet palette, you were like, what for? What do you need that for? Like, when I use your paints.
Yeah.
And he's like, but you don't need that. You don't use my paints. I was like, yeah, but I'm really enjoying using them.
Yeah, and after the amount of stuff that you wasted last time, I thought I'd make you the wet palette. So it's a bit of sponge.
You didn't make me the wet palette. I cut the foam out.
You cut the foam, but I
yeah, you did the other bit.
I did the other bit.
Yeah.
So it's a base layer of the foam, and then a little bit of water, in just enough to keep the sponge moist.
Mm-hmm.
And then that on there is a bit of grease-proof paper.
Yeah. Can I just say that at the moment I've just taken a dry brush, and it is a proper dry brush where you put paint on and then you brush it off and then brush it on. And I've just done it in the crooks of his arms and
in the creases. Yeah.
But I do think I put a little bit too much on his. If you look at the leg that his hand is on, I think there's a little bit too much there. But
you don't really notice it from here.
That might be the light, because you don't see it in the normal. When
that
you're normally
little frog
looking at
there
it.
on the rock is quite cute.
He's super cute, but yeah.
And I like them all, to be honest. But I think that little one's just got a little cute little. I don't know whether it's his eyes.
Do you know what? He reminds me of. It reminds me of Tiny Human. It puts me in mind of Tiny Human, cheeky looking.
I was going to say that it's not got anything in its mouth, though.
Well, it might have. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly not asking.
No.
Because, it could be tadpoles.
It could be anything now with her, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'm not risking it.
Because everything, I'm pretty sure she looks at everything and goes, I wonder what that tastes like.
She just looks, well, anyway, she just looks at everything she's a grub, but she looks at the world with wonder. Yeah. And that's not a bad thing.
And a tongue.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully she'll grow out of that. Yeah. But so that's the 3 frogs. Now, all I'm doing is just finishing off painting the book, and just popping some tiny finishing touches on them, and then it's off to the glamour shots.
Do you not UV the eyes?
Oh, I've forgot all about that.
Oh.
Okay, ignore what I just said, because Kirk will not cut it out, because he is militant.
I'm not militant.
You are militant.
I haven't got time to keep pausing and rewinding and doing all of that malarkey. Blah,
blah, blah. I UV the eyes.
Yes.
There you go. Me UV in the eyes. Whilst I'm doing that, let me take this opportunity to tell you about Froggy Friday. So Froggy Friday is a collaboration by a whole bunch of people.
Like?
Me.
Yeah.
Others.
Like?
It's organised by Karen from Dragon's Cave.
Well done.
Lisa from Girl in the Garage.
Uh-huh.
Tim from Bass Resonator.
Yep.
Lula from Nerd Goblin Art.
Yep.
Gert from Gert Creates.
Yep.
Any more?
No, those are the organisers, so well done.
Well, it's quite the list now, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah. But it's also featuring us.
There is a playlist. There is a playlist in our description, along with a whole bunch of discount codes and whatnot. So have a peruse. Have a little butchers.
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 Have a butchers.
People won't know what that means.
Some people will.
Some people won't. It means peruse.
Yes. Yes, it does.
And with that, they're all done, and it's off to the glamour shots. And
now look how fantastic my lily pad looks. That's the effect I was going for in the first place.
It's a failed Larimar. Let's be clear, failed Larimar.
No.
I have to say though, they look really cool sitting on those little leaves, don't they?
They do. Those leaves look really good.
I told you they'd look nice.
Yeah.
See? Trust me. What? I think you should just trust me.
Okay.
Anyway, if you like our creative chaos
Yeah.
and you feel that you'd like to come back and see us again,
Yeah.
feel free to hit that like button.
Yeah. And while you're down there, give that subscribe a little tickle if you haven't already.
And if you have,
Thank you very much.
and hopefully we may see you in the next one.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye.
Bye for now.